Hi, I'm DevToad, a self-taught developer, and I've built a micro-saas called Create AI. It's a website where you can generate content for your business. Just recently, I made my first and only sale ever. In the last video, you guys decided in the comments what I should spend my profits on. I will be doing exactly that at the end of this video. But first, let's talk about my tech stack. You guys have been asking this multiple times. You ask, so I shall deliver. I'll talk about which ones I use, why I use them, and the costs. So yeah, let's start. When starting a business, you of course need a website. So the first thing you do is build a website. I use Next.js for this. Next.js is a framework built on top of React. I don't use TypeScript, but I hear a lot of people say that TypeScript is way better. Should I learn TypeScript? Tell me in the comments if you think I do. I also use Tailwind CSS to do the UI. It's already installed when you open a Next.js project. The reason why I use Tailwind CSS for my website is because it's quick and easy to use. You can already do your UI in your inline code. Now I got my website, but I also need a domain. For a domain I went to Hostinger. That's where I bought my domain name. You can also build and host your website on Hostinger. You can even build WordPress websites on it, but I didn't. I wanted to code my website and be a little bit more flexible. So the next thing that I needed was a server, because I need to deploy my website on a server. For this I used Vercel. Vercel and Next.js are from the same company. It works really well together. It's really easy to deploy your website on Vercel. You just push your code from your website to your GitHub repository, connect your GitHub repository to Vercel, and every time when you change your code and push it to GitHub, Vercel will automatically redeploy your website on their server. An extremely important tip for beginners. This mistake happens so often. Don't push your env files to GitHub. This will expose your API keys and other secrets. And this is definitely not what you want. So when others get access to these keys, they can exploit your project. So please add a git ignore file in your folder so it ignores pushing your env file to GitHub. And if you did make this mistake, the easiest and fastest way to solve it is renew your API keys. Oh, and good to know, Vercel can deploy front-end and back-end code. I deploy my front-end and back-end on Vercel. The back-end uses Lambda functions, and the max duration of a Lambda function was initially 10 seconds, but recently they increased it to 60 seconds. And this is also the case for the free version. But if you need the server to be online constantly, then Vercel is not the solution for you. You should probably go with something like AWS and run your server on the cloud. The reason why I don't run my own server on the cloud, because it just takes a lot more time and more effort to set it up. So for my project, it's not needed, so I won't be doing it. I think for most beginner projects, it's not needed to set up your own server. So I would just recommend using Vercel and Lambda functions. So now you have a website and you have a domain, but they are not pointing to each other. So that's what you need to do next. You need to change your DNS and let them point to each other. And now you have a website that's working on your domain that you chose. What almost all projects also need is a database. For this, I use Supabase. The reason why I use Supabase is because it's easy to use, easy to integrate, and it's free to use. Well, at least you have a free tier, and that's where you can start. Just be careful that you don't expose your API keys and set up roles. So not like how I did. I made a previous video about me getting hacked and losing money. So if you're interested, you can watch that video and check what I did wrong and how I fixed it. The next thing is authentication. For this, I use Clerk. You can also manage it by yourself, but it takes more time to set it up, manage the data, and create keys. I don't want to bother with this, so I just use Clerk. And again, this is free as well. For a micro-saas, you also need to handle payments. For this, I use Stripe. I've never done and handled payments by myself. I don't think it's a wise idea anyway, because payment needs to be secure and people need to trust it. Stripe is a known company and a lot of people use it, so a lot of people trust it. So I definitely recommend not doing it yourself, but just use Stripe. However, Stripe does take a fee, a big portion as well. For every transaction, it takes 1.5% plus an additional 0.25 euro cent of flat fee. So yeah, setting it up and using it initially doesn't cost you anything. And setting it up is quite easy. But when you make a lot of sales, they will take a portion of it. Which I guess isn't too bad. If you make a lot of sales, you earn money anyway. When you have your own business, you also want to have your own email. So the domain that you bought for your website, you can use that name for your email as well. For this I use Zoho. Why do I use Zoho? Again, because it's free. When starting your own business, you want to keep your costs very low, because you don't even know if your business will succeed. So now you have a working website and you want to track your visitors. So for this I use Google Analytics. Again, this is free and really easy to implement. It will just take you like maybe 5 minutes to implement. I hear a lot of people don't like Google Analytics and use post hoc or plausible, but personally for me, Google Analytics is enough. It does enough and it's free. As for AI models that I use for my website, I use OpenAI for generating images and generating emails. The cost of generating an image is 4 cents using the DALL-E 3 model and 1 cent using the DALL-E 2 model. Generating emails doesn't even cost me 1 cent per email. The difference between DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3 is that the DALL-E 3 model is a newer model, so that's why it generates better images, but it also costs like 4 times more. For generating videos I use Luma AI. Generating a video costs me 40 cents per video and it will generate a video of 5 seconds. So this is a cost breakdown. This is my tech stack that I use and these are the prices that go with them. So basically my tech stack is free, except for that I pay for my domain name, my AI models, and a fee for when I make sales. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You can do it in the comments or by mail. I answer all of them. Alright, let's now spend my profits. So if you've watched my previous video, I've made my first and only sale ever. And with that sale, I made a whopping 67 cents. Someone in the comments told me to buy 10 pieces of pasta. Not 10 packs, but 10 pieces. Thank you for your comment. You're also the only comment. So let's get 10 pieces of pasta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of pasta.